You are entering the Take Up, a place to gather when the film is over. I'm your host, Joshua Ray, and I'm here with my co-host and managing editor of the TakeUp.com, Andrew Wyatt. Hey, Andrew.
Hello.
Today we are processing You Won't Be Alone, Andrew's pick for the Gems of 2022 program. And we've got a special guest. Jessica Scott of WeWhoWalkHere.com is here to join us with, she would probably pick this one too. And then after that, we're going to play a little game. It's our Best Supporting Witches IMDb edition. But first up, we are going to talk Now Showing. So if you go to the takeup.com, contributor Stephen Tronacek did interview with director Robbie Banfitch of The Outwaters. I haven't seen The Outwaters yet, but I hear it's kind of spooky.
I don't know if that's the word I would use.
Oh, and listen, but we've got a guest. Jessica Scott is here, film critic, written for Slash Film, Daily Grindhouse, but main website, WeWhoWalkHere.com. Hi, Jessica Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. You, like Andrew, big horror fan,
Yes.
horror nerd,
Yes, absolutely.
a great horror academic. Is that fair?
I will gladly accept that, but the part of me that just demurs at everything says, "Oh no, I'm a horror nerd. I'll own that, but I won't go so far as to call myself a horror academic."
Didn't you do like a whole panel on vampire and queer horror or something?
I did.
If you do something like that, I'm gonna call you like a scholar of horror.
Okay, I will own
All
that.
right.
I did give a talk at an academic conference about queer vampires, so yes.
There you go.
Hell,
Literally
yeah.
scholar.
Literally.
Okay, I love that.
Literally
Love
a
it.
scholar. All right. I haven't seen The Outwaters yet, but y'all have. Should I be afraid of it or not? Is it Andrew, you made a face.
I actually don't know if it's going to be your cup of tea or not, but I'm interested to hear your reaction to it. So what
Hmm.
what was your sort of immediate response to this, Jessica?
Oh, I loved it. It's one of the closest depictions to hell on earth that I've ever seen. So
I love Hell on Earth. What do you mean, Andrew?
So I highly recommend it if the hell on earth is the vibe you're going for, because that is it's a nightmare, but it's not scary in a spooky scary kind of way. It's a nightmare in a I'm contemplating far worse ideas of mortality than I have before kind of way.
It's Lovecraftian. I mean, to
Yeah.
kind of point out, I've seen that invoked a lot,
Mhm.
and I think that's
believe,
and that gets
Steven
a lot of
invoked. Yeah.
a lot of horror fans love to sort of throw that out as a descriptor, and it isn't always an accurate descriptor if you've actually read Lovecraft and sort of dealt with and digested him with all his merits and major
Digested
flaws.
him.
Major flaws, but I think this film gets pretty damn close. So I do want to clarify that this film is bifurcated pretty cleanly into 2 hours. It's a 2-hour film, and it's pretty clearly bifurcated. And I guess I don't know if it works better if you don't know what you're in for or if you do, because the first hour is basically the Blair Witch Project in the Mojave Desert. It's a bunch of people want sort of mumblecore-ish indie band people, like independent filmmaker and a woman who's trying to become like a singer-songwriter, and their friends sort of wandering. They got a hair and makeup lady because they're trying to make a video in the middle of nowhere in the Mojave Desert. That's the setup, basically.
Mhm.
And so the first hour, like, it's the Blair Witch criticism. Nothing happens, right? But like the Blair Witch, part of what the director is doing is sort of layering in subliminal things into your brain, imagery, sounds that he's going to come back to, that he's going to recall. And then the last hour is like an hour of the Stargate sequence from 2001, except instead of sci-fi wonder and awe, it's tentacles and horror. That's how I would describe it. It is I was saying to somebody recently that it's an enervating last hour. You take that as a recommendation or not. Like, so if you're not prepared to be like to have this sonic and sensory assault for an hour in the back half of this film, you might kind of recoil from this, independent of whatever else it's doing stylistically. It's pretty overwhelming. Would you agree, Jess? It's a pretty overwhelming
Yes.
sensory experience.
Yes, absolutely. It is it's exhausting in the best way. I think enervating is the perfect way to put it. Because it is an assault. It is, you kind of get put into this warm bath with these, really engaging characters that you're just kind of hanging out with for a while. And then it immediately, the switch flips, and it is just, you want to escape and you can't, and you kind of don't want to at the same time.
I've seen some people say that this is like an edibles film, and I'm like, I would not want to watch this movie.
No.
I might have a freak out.
Yeah.
Not from what you're describing. Don't do it, folks. It's not going to go well. At least get some popcorn if you do.
I will say one thing that it does.
To watch this from what you guys are talking about. Like, where I want to stream it, but it's only theatrical right now, right?
It's coming to stream soon, I believe.
Mhm.
Oh, very good. Okay.
In fact, it might actually be today, because the director was talking about it on Twitter today as if it was coming soon to VOD. So it's either coming this week or very soon. One thing I do want to say about it, though, is if you have a thing about blood, it's a very bloody film. And not even necessarily, I would say, a gory. I guess it is kind of gory. There's intestines, but the entire second half of the film, the director / star is basically covered head to toe in gore. It's from the Trouble Every Day school of gore. Take that. If you have a thing about that, the horror itself isn't that intense, yeah. But just it's a gory film, maybe more so than it's not. People don't go into this expecting a slasher, and it is a very gory film.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did our research. It is streaming as of today.
Yeah.
Or as of tonight. I can't stay awake that long, but maybe I'll watch it in the morning and really set the day off right. And then Andrew, you had another horror recommendation, question mark?
Yeah, I don't know that this can be a full-throated recommendation, but as always with sort of indie horror, I always like looking for things about indie horror, sort of directed VOD indie horror films that do certain things in an interesting or successful way. All the other flaws are kind of like aside. I always try to find something and recommend something. So this is a film called Attachment, which is on, I believe, on Shudder right now, by a filmmaker named Gabriel Beer. I'm going to horribly mispronounce that. Gabriel Beer Gislason. This is a Jewish folk horror, ghost haunting, demonic possession, lesbian love story.
Okay.
And that makes it sound more convoluted than it actually is. The setup is actually pretty straightforward. So there's a meet cute. Two girls meet in. There's an international aspect. One girl's Danish, one girl's English. The English girl has a medical issue, and so she has to go home very quickly and back to London. And their hookup is intense enough that basically the main character, this Danish woman, failed actress, doesn't really have anything going on in her life, and she's so immediately infatuated with this woman that she decides to just follow her back to London. And there she learns that she's still living with her mother, and her mother is an Orthodox Jew. And the film becomes a very sort of deeply enmeshed in Jewish folklore and mysticism. But really, all that aside, I don't even think it's I'm not Jewish, so I can't judge the sort of accuracy of the mysticism and the religion on display. I didn't find it particularly compelling compared to other films that have sort of mined similar territory. But what is fascinating is that this is very much a relationship film first. It's about how when you have an overprotective parent, a partner or a lover can be seen as a threat, and that when you are a lover or a partner and you're trying to sort of get in good with a parent who is overprotective, the various strategies that you take to try to insert yourself or appeal to this person and try to convince them to let you into their family's life. It's a very observant indie film. It's almost better as a relationship film, very observant and insightful film about relationships and the complicated dynamics when parents enter the situation and when there's dependency for mental health reasons or disability reasons or religious reasons. the way that it can complicate things. I almost like that more than the horror. And the final act kind of goes into predictable. Every film has to end with an exorcism nowadays, kind of predictable. But I did like the relationships aspects. It's people, not a lesbian, but to me, it felt like a very insightful film about relationships in general and the dynamics of them. So I did like that. And it has Ellie Kendrick, who was on Mira Reed on Game of Thrones, so I loved her on that show. So
I don't know what any characters' names are on
Well,
Game of Thrones, and I watched every episode.
she also very famously played Anne Frank in a English language adaptation of The Diary of Anne Frank that I think is probably the most famous contemporary adaptation of it.
Very good. Now, what about Sarah? Am I saying that right?
Sarah, yeah. So I don't want to talk too much about this because I kind of want to funnel people to read my review, please, on the website. But
on the takeup.com. That's the take-up.com.
So this film is called Hesera. For some reason in America, it's been given the subtitle The Bone Woman. I'm not like the name Hesera is just fine on its own. This is a Mexican film by, I don't think she's a first-time filmmaker, but
hold on. Right. Like, why would you include Hesera and then the Bone Woman? Like it's already there. So if you're trying to add something onto it to like clarify or retitle it, then why wouldn't you just like call it The Bone Woman?
I don't.
Why is
I
it?
don't. The distributor logic of how films get retitled from different international markets never makes sense to me. I'm not going to litigate that.
Is she a bone woman at least? Is it right? Is she a bone?
There
woman?
is a bony aspect to this. So the filmmaker, I want to make sure I mention the filmmaker is Michelle Garza Severa. I don't think she's a first-time filmmaker, but this is sort of like her big hit. I think it was, I don't want to say it was at Sundance maybe last year or maybe at Fantastic Fest. It was a big hit, and it's just it's finally getting a release. It's out on VOD. It was out, got a theatrical release last week. It's on VOD literally today. So by the time you hear this, it will be out. It's awesome. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's a natal horror film about a woman who is pregnant, and all these anxieties start to happen, and sort of they're externalized as these supernatural forces. I think it's great. I don't say this lightly to put it in sort of the motherhood canon alongside Rosemary's Baby and The Babadook, but I think it definitely earns it. It's a very smart film. Very richly layered in terms of theme. So and it's genuinely scary. If you have a thing about broken bones protruding out of people's bodies, bones cracking, this is going to be very body. It's not a body horror film, but if that's your trigger, this is going to be a very triggering film in that respect.
I am the bone man when it comes to that.
Bone grinding on bone sounds. Oh yeah, there's a lot of that in this.
Never broken a bone in my body. You know, I avoid physical activity because of it. I don't want it. I don't want the.
So maybe you need to like kind of cover your ears or hide yourself. But it's such a good film. It's such a good film that I actually recommend it to even non-horror fans because I think there's so much interesting stuff going on in it. Again, not a queer person, but to me, this feels like a future queer horror canon movie. So you need to watch it.
People are saying that about Skinamarink, and I'm like, y'all need to go read a different book.
Well, we differ on Skinamarink. We can argue about Skinamarink.
No, I don't want to. Jesse, have you Skinamarinked yet?
I have Skinamarinked, and I loved Skinamarink.
Josh did not. Let's leave it at that.
I hated that movie. Yeah,
but that's why people listen, right? To hear not to hear constant agreement, to hear lively debate.
Differing opinions. You know what movie has not a lot going on in it? Ant-Man and the Wasp. The Quantumania. Where's the mania in this? Because this movie is so boring. Just love your little action figures running around on your little crayons. What the fuck is this? What are y'all doing? Are you good?
So, I mean, you don't have a predisposition to these Marvel movies anyway. But is this one a particularly dire version, or is this sort of typical of them for you?
Is it anything? Is it anything? It's not dire. I mean, it's a fine, and I hate. Because I think there's great TV. I hate this like cinema versus TV divide. But, on one hand, this is a long television episode of a TV show I don't like. Um, there's nothing of consequence that really occurs. This Marvel fandom is predicated on anticipation of something you already know that's going to happen. This is why I guess I don't get it, but there are people who like these movies that aren't comic book fans that don't know that this is the beginning of phase 5. I learned this today. I don't know what that means. I don't care what that means. As a film that I definitely watched, it is non-existent. And this is a movie that occurs in this world that is pulled out of someone's imagination and has some really elaborate and creative set design. And I put scare quotes around it because it's all, ones and zeros and whatever. And supposedly inspired by Jodorowsky's Dune, the film, his version of Frank Herbert's Dune that never got made.
I have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania yet, but I can say that is almost 100% probably not true.
And you see where some of that inspiration comes through, but it's all very flat and has no personality and very kind of in-jokey to the fandom, and felt very cloying and not good, folks.
And you know what? That's particularly disappointing with this sort of sub-franchise, because before Marvel sort of exhausted my goodwill, and I'm kind of done with them too, is that, like, I thought the original Ant-Man was actually a pretty good picture because, and this is key, in keeping with the consistency of it being about Ant-Man, it's a heist picture. It's a very small bore stakes, very small bore threat. The final boss battle happens on a Thomas the Tank Engine track. Like, I loved that. And it stood in such contrast to so many other Marvel films and so many other franchise, not just a Marvel thing, but every other franchise tentpole that have to end with like Armageddon, on the brink of Armageddon. Like, give me a heist film with superpowers. Like, that's great. But like they did one movie about it and then they immediately discarded it and like integrated it into the larger nonsense. And
I had fun with the second one too, and it was all very surface level fun, and again, like, no stakes. But this one has the self-seriousness of Avengers Endgame, and has gone so far in that direction that it sort of crumbles under its own weight. And I hate to say it, but even Jonathan Majors is here as Kang, who's the next Thanos. Words I can't believe I'm saying. And I actually thought he was remarkably non-existent, and
that's a shame.
This is very odd.
What a waste of a great actor.
Yeah, I had this odd affect of a superhero villain. It was kind of like he was quoting superhero villain. And
I actually watched and even liked the Loki TV show. It's one of the few Disney, like, Marvel shows I actually watched. And as great as Tom Hiddleston is as an actor, it is uncanny how much that show comes alive in its final episode when, spoiler alert, when Jonathan Majors shows up to like exposition all over the place for 40 minutes. It's just Jonathan Majors in a room talking, and it's suddenly like the energy level in the show kind of jumps up 110%, and it's astonishing. Okay. So it's doubly disappointing to hear that he is not good in this.
So I gotta ask you, because I gotta go on the TV and review this thing. He's in Loki, right? As King?
Yeah. That was his first appearance, I think. But who knows with Marvel? He could have popped up at a fucking Easter egg somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why do I have to know all this in order to review the damn thing? This isn't fun. It's not fair. I have a friend who I text and I'm like, just TLDR version of this,
give me
please.
Kang is a great comic character. Like, as somebody who was a Marvel fan when I was a teenager of the comics, Kang is a cool character. So it's like, it's always doubly disappointing to see this kind of nonsense get soft pedaled in film form.
Well, let's talk about something that's worth talking about, and that is You Won't Be Alone, the film with a title that I can remember. if I try hard enough. You Won't Be Alone. Andrew's pick, film Jessica loves, a film I definitely saw. Let's do it.
کاژینومی جزاقبت اشتراینامی نجامشت.
Now this is Andrew's pick, but you are a big fan of, oh my God, You Won't Be Alone. And I was just, this is my thing. This title is so generic. Just the words. It makes sense for the film that I cannot remember the fucking name of this movie at all. It's You Won't Be Alone.
Yes.
You're a fan of it, right?
Oh, very much so. Yes.
Very much so. All right. Good.
That's why I have Jessica on here, honestly. It's why I ever suggested her, because I needed defense in case you hated this job. So it wasn't one-on-one.
I will reserve comment until Andrew tells us why he picked this one. Andrew, we've had, what have we had so far? After Yang, Strawberry Mansion, Stars at Noon, and now
Emily the Criminal.
Emily the Criminal, right?
Yeah.
You Won't Be Alone. So this is, I think our picks are the most us picks we could have picked.
Well, now I need to know what you mean
Macedonian
by that.
Witches. I picked, sweaty Claire Denis. Come on. This is a very Andrew movie.
Yeah, it
like
is.
existential, like witch transference of spirit and come on, buddy. All right. Okay. But why did you pick it?
Well, so the theme of this mini series is underrated gems, and I think this is a film that's, I'm sort of in film Twitter, but I'm also in horror Twitter. So horror Twitter has talked about this film, but I don't think it's sort of penetrated outside that to the larger awareness of cinephiles. So I just kind of wanted to bring some attention to it. And it was in my top 15, I think, of 2022. Certainly the film that blindsided me, perhaps more than any other film I saw this year. I had heard a little bit about it. It had weirdly had a wide release. Like you could go see this at the Marcus Ronnie's theater down the street. I don't know why it had a wide release, but it definitely feels like an art film. But I had sort of skipped it, and then it came out on VOD, and I thought, what the hell? I'll try to check it out. And I was like, why isn't anybody talking about this movie? It's the first time feature sort of made with I always like seeing a strong first time feature just because it gets me excited about what the future is, what's coming from that filmmaker in the future. But even apart from that, this film as an object sort of just immediately made me sit up and take notice. And I think, those of people who've been listening for the past year or whatever probably have an idea what my sensibilities are. So I guess it's not totally a surprise. Let's see, folk horror plus Malikian voiceover, probably my thing.
Yeah. At least, it's cool to have a thing, right?
I guess. I don't want to be completely in a box though, right?
Well, the next time
Predictable.
you pick, the Claire Denis, and I'll go folk horror.
Okay.
So I'm still reserving comment.
Okay.
Jessica, how did you meet this movie, and what's your just kind of general opinion on it?
I first saw it at Sundance last year. It was my first time covering Sundance, so I was super excited anyway. But like Andrew, I was bowled over by the fact that this was a first time feature from this director. And it's just so assured and so confident and so gorgeous. Like, it's one of the most poetic movies I've ever seen, not just in its dialogue, but just the way it's shot. And it just penetrated me. It means a lot to me because it's just so gorgeous, and it felt like I was watching something important. I'm obsessed with it. And I agree. I feel like it should be talked about more, not just on horror Twitter, but I want more people to be talking about this movie and seeing this movie, because it's just got everything that I want in film. So no, I will be very rapturous when I'm talking about it. I apologize beforehand.
Oh no, I love it. You just like bumped it up half star because you're so enthused about it. Will you tell us about, because it premiered at Sundance, right?
Mhm.
Tell us about the screening and how that experience was to be one of the first to see it.
I was actually watching virtually. I was not in a theater, though I would have loved to have seen that with a crowd. But I think I got kind of spoiled because I was like, is this what going to Sundance is like? Is this what every film at Sundance is like? Watching this, like,
God,
Definitely not.
yeah.
I forgot what last year's Sundance was like. We saw After Yang there.
Mhm.
You won't be like, there were really high profile, well, what ended up being a high profile films. And like this one, it rose to the top because it has a star in it who turns out but it isn't the star of the film because there really isn't one. And we'll talk about that. But yeah, that was sort of one of the higher profile ones, and it was picked up by Focus Features, and I think that's why it got that large release. But typically, any horror movie gets a horror bump at the box office, but this did not. So I don't know if there was something in the marketing that was, if something like The Witch can, make bank on its relative scale, then you would think something like this would. But you're right, it sort of escaped everyone's grasp.
To be honest, if I was a film goer who liked The Witch but wasn't necessarily into like art film, I would probably get 10 minutes into this and be like, what the hell is this? Why am I watching this?
All right, well, let's get 10 minutes
because it has
into
that
it.
folk horror vibe, but it's doing something completely different.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's not even scary. I mean, maybe calling it horror really is more about the components,
sure.
sort of the story components, the plot wise that are in it. It's not really
Mhm.
about the tone or what it's trying to do to you as a viewer at
Mhm.
all.
Will you set it up for us?
Yeah. So this is a film about, and again, in case it isn't clear to Jessica, this is a spoiler cast. So we talk about the film in total. Anybody who's listening is going to get it ruined, but we do usually do kind of a setup here. So this is about a witch who is, in the parlance of the film's Macedonian folk horror, is called a wolf eatress, and she's capable of shape-shifting by killing somebody and then sort of taking their skin suit, as it were, although it's done by sort of ripping the person's viscera out. And the way I've sort of just, that nickel summary makes it sound like it's a horror film, and it's really not. It's about the witch who in the film, her human name is Maria, but I didn't get the impression that she uses that name as a witch now that she's sort of this immortal crone. She takes to a particular infant and decides to she wants to eat it or kill it or something, and the mother hides it away in like this shrine. I get the impression it's like a Christian Eremite hermitage or something, where the witch can't get to it, and literally raises her baby from infancy to 16 years old in this cave, leaves her in the cave to kind of become a feral child, only visiting her occasionally. Then eventually the witch manages to break in somehow or get to the girl, kills the mom, and then the bulk of the film concerns her on again, off again sort of tutelage of this young witch. The younger witch's name is Navina. But again, there's not a lot of names thrown around this movie, so you kind of have to pay attention to the subtitles to even know who's being talked about. And the whole movie is in Macedonian, so it is a subtitle. It's not technically a foreign film. I guess it's technically an Australian production, but the film is entirely in Macedonia. It's very immersive 18th century Macedonia. So the movie is really about their relationship, and in particular about Navina's exploration of the human world, because she's been raised in a cave, mostly without her natural biological mother's influence, only occasionally. And so she doesn't really have any experience with the world. And this is very much a film about a person who is only partly human at this point. She's been sort of semi-transformed by the witch Maria into this, I don't know what to call it, like an acolyte witch, another wolf eatress in training. And Navina kind of like goes back and forth between wanting to be under the protection and instruction of this older witch who is very cruel and callous towards her and wanting to explore the human world on her own. And that's probably a bit longer summary than I needed to give, but
No, I kind of think it requires that setup, even though it's all pretty clear what's happening in it, right? Even though sometimes, the first time a witch pummels someone's body and then rips out some intestines or whatever, and then like puts them inside a hole in her chest, you're like, that must have some purpose. And then
but see, that's what I like about it, that it doesn't, but it doesn't need to explain it. Good folk horror does not require a wise woman to come in and explain what's going on. You should be able to intuit the rules and the dynamics from what's shown on screen, I think.
And that's what I like about this, is that it really does put you under a spell. Excuse my pun here. And you are enraptured and inside this very kind of insular experience that this woman or being, and we can talk about the allegorical lens this can go to too, in attempting to understand the human experience. The thing that really came to my mind in watching this was Jerzy Skolimowski's EO, in that it has a sort of similar structure in that it's episodic, in that you're following one thing as they go through human experiences. Now, this one has a bit higher concept with it because it does have this witch spirit or whatever it becomes.
That's a good point, though. I didn't even think of that. But
Yeah.
EO's owners is as to the personas that the witch is taking as she's body hopping.
Yeah. Can we let's go through the personas?
What do you think, Jess? Is there a deliberateness to the specific order of events and the sequence of personas that Navina takes on in the film?
I think so. I think there's a lot going on with gender and motherhood. Her first life, she's a woman with an abusive husband, and then she's a man, and then she gets to be a young girl and experience loving motherhood for the first time, like for years, instead of in tiny short bursts, which perhaps is how she received it when she was growing up in the cave. So I think there's definitely a progression of her experiencing what love and happiness can feel like, and getting longer and longer bursts of that. It's like, when she leaves the cave, she squints and can't quite handle the sun. And I think that's how she is with love as well. Like, it's a little too intense at first, but as she gets more and more exposed to it, she's like, this is what life can be when it's at its best. So I think it's kind of her figuring out gender, figuring out motherhood, and most of all, figuring out what love feels like.
That's an excellent point, because the climax of the film, or the denouement, if you will, is Maria the maid enacting, it's like emotional revenge, because the younger witch has found that, and that's something that she was robbed of.
Well, in as much as the human magic in the film, what we might call the hedge magic, or the populist magic of these Macedonian peasants, is pretty much shown to be wrong. Like, they don't, whatever rituals they're doing to protect themselves or whatever, don't really do anything. But the women in the village, I think in the sort of the final act, the Bilia act, where Navina takes on her final persona, they do say something to the effect of, like, they have Maria's number. They say, oh, she's just bitter. She's jealous of what she can't have, or she can't feel. Which is funny, because it's exactly right. Like, we're primed to assume that the humans don't know what they're talking about, but they do have her number emotionally or psychologically. Because I think that's what motivates that final act of cruelty that you're referring to, where she tries to kill Navina's child.
Absolutely.
Going into is you sort of swim in this movie instead of like dissecting it or following this plot. And
it's Malikian, to overuse overuse phrase.
You want to go there with that?
Yes.
This is what I don't like about this movie. There's a preciousness, and this might be a taste thing too. I don't really go for this like faux Malick, and this definitely has some of it going on. I think of the things that adopt this Terrence Malick style. And I think it's more late Malick than anything. I think it's a very difficult like mix, a difficult alchemy to achieve. And there are moments in this that rang a little like false to me, really just in that mix. Otherwise, I was totally just in this, but there are moments that just like pulled me out of it.
What's an example of do you think of something off the top of your head where you're just like you bounced off of?
I bounced off of a lot of the narrational, and that is where that is like the taste thing, right? With Malick and especially later Malick. And that's a lot of point of contention with like Malick heads is the poetry of it all. Sure. Some of it rang as like just trying to be that instead of just wholly possessing that. That's really it for me.
Well, I mean, I can't argue that either. It worked for you or it didn't, right? Like for me,
Right.
I love the. I was sitting there writing every other line around the dialogue
too.
down because I was struck by it. But
Mhm.
if you don't buy it, you don't buy it. I think part of the reason it works for me so well here is because of the horror supernatural context. Because let's put it this way, I rewatched specifically because of this. This motivated me to rewatch The New World this week. Terrence Malick.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was constantly thinking of it when I rewatched You Won't Be Alone for the third time. I was thinking about The New World because one of the things I think it captures, and the horror component, the supernatural or occult aspects of this, are used to create a remove from humanity. Like they're using the goofy, somewhat ridiculous concepts that all horror movies sort of traffic in. And I'm saying this as like I love horror movies, but I'm an atheist. Like I don't believe in ghosts, demons, or anything. But I do think it's a wonderful literary tool here, almost, where it's creating the remove of entering a world that we're not familiar with. I mean, like, not to put too fine a point on that, but a lot of the way Navina talks sounds like the way that John Smith and Pocahontas talk in The New World to me, having just watched them back to back. Like the idea of marveling at something, but maybe not 100% understanding it, and also worrying, the constant background worry that maybe your presence there, that you touching it, you interacting with it, trying to be a part of it, might spoil it somehow.
So it's like a metal cover of The New World.
It's a black metal cover. So it's an Eastern European black metal cover of The New World.
See, for me,
am I completely talking out of my ass here?
No.
No, not at all.
No, I don't think so.
So I mean, I like all horror, obviously, but like to me, that's what struck me, is that it's somebody, like, we're using horror devices or occult devices to investigate, the things that are the grand ideas about the human experience. And I like that. And I don't know. And again, if you bounced off some of that, Josh, and it felt a little fakey and maybe pretentious, for lack of a better word, I can't really argue the point, because it is kind of pretentious. It's a horror movie that's trying to be about the whole of the human experience, but it worked for me.
I guess it's just the act of the cover, right? It's an approximation of something else that there's a dissonance in it that I can't really vibe with, because I don't really vibe with black metal.
I will say that part of the reason I keep referring to Malick is because I feel like this is if it's a cover, it's a really good cover. This is like, to me, this is like Paul Thomas Anderson covering Scorsese or Altman level. Like it's picking up all the right things. And we mentioned previously the sort of hazy, dreamy quality to it, the way it proceeds through its plot, not in a typical narrative way with the privileging like plot clarity or anything. To me, that's like the essence of like Malick. You look at a movie like Hidden Life or God forbid, Knight of Cups, and try to parse like what's happening. It's really about giving you these snippets, the constant motion of the camera. One thing that this director does that doesn't do that late Malick has been doing. I'm sorry, I haven't properly credited the director. It's a Macedonian-Australian director named Goran Stolevski, and he just has a new movie coming out this week, actually, his second feature. But one thing Malick does in his later features, particularly like since New World, is keep the camera in motion constantly. Even in those little tiny half-second shots, The camera is constantly drifting, panning, racking, like it's moving all over the place. And this film feels a little more settled, but the editing style, this is a montage film, basically. For lack of, there are certain moments between, particularly when the two witches are interacting, we're in a more traditional 2-camera setup and we're getting their dialogue together. But everything else, all the stuff that Naveen is doing out in the world is montage. We get her entire relationship and marriage and birth of her child happens in montage. It also reminded me of Ghost Story was the other film that I was thinking. A Ghost Story.
Oh, okay. So that's the peak bullshit, Malik. I hate that. For me, this is the successful like cover version, like the the best approximation of a Malik to where that is. I'm gonna make so many people angry. Movie fucking masturbatory jerk off David Lowery. Make the old man in the gone. Confidence, baby. All right, Jessica, be mad at me for what I said.
No, I mean, I can't be mad at you for just saying it's a taste thing, because some people vibe with that and some people don't. But
yeah, but then I could just say that about anything.
Oh, true. Just say the worst thing ever and say, but it's a taste thing.
It's a taste thing.
I just say your mileage may vary. This is not your thing. You will not like this thing.
Right. One thing I really love is performance in this, and I'm not familiar with a lot of the cast. The one person I know is Noor Pass, and I think she's really good in this. Is she underrated as a performer?
I've noticed that in the past 5 years, she's done a lot of sort of low rent stuff, and I wonder. And this is not a verdict on her talents. I'm more just thinking meta. I wonder if she just never, after the Millennium Trilogy, after the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo stuff, maybe maybe Prometheus too. She never really hit for American audiences, maybe the way that the studios intended her to hit. But I do love. I think she's a great actress. I mean, I don't have any problem with her acting.
I think she's really good in this, and it's a silent performance, mostly silent. You might dialogue free, we'll call it.
I wrote down here. It's giving me Dumi Rapace pretending to laugh is giving me life.
Can we talk about that?
Looking at learning how to use her face is just an amazing thing.
That me in any party just pause.
Anna Maria Marinka, who plays Maria in the flashback sequences, I think it's also her underneath all the latex makeup, was in 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days. So I think she's a Romanian actress. And
Alice Englert too, who's been around a little bit. She's oh Jesus Christ. What's her mom's name? Jane Campion. What the hell?
Wait, she's Jane Campion's daughter?
She is. And
I did not know that.
Yeah. So hey, there's
Nepo baby.
Yeah. She's Nepo baby. Oops, sorry, Alice Englert. Yeah, but in general, just everyone's pretty top notch in this thing. And it's a heavy lift too, because a lot of what the filmmaker is attempting lies on faces, right? So it's, you would think a heavy lift would be a lot of dialogue, but trying to convey this sort of the same spirit transferring through different bodies. And it not only through the filmmaking, but through performance, we identifying that as the same person. And I think it's key that everyone sort of has a sense of wonder, or at least a quizzical behavior to it, because the character is trying to experience. And that's the one thing that we're talking about with Noor Pass, is when she's trying to figure out what are they doing when they're laughing, and then trying to mimic that, and then being a total beat behind it, and then suddenly just.
And also talking about just the general rules, when you see somebody you recognize, lift your eyebrows. She's reminding herself. There's something very Asby about that, about her trying to learn the rules of social interaction and make sure that she can fit in properly. Not because, and what I think is interesting is this coming from an interesting place. Navina doesn't have the streak of cruelty that Maria has. She didn't inherit it for whatever reason through the witch spit. And like, so she's not coming at this of, I have to make sure I keep this masquerade up perfectly. It's not coming from a feeling of anxiety or paranoia or the inherent deceitfulness. She's sort of just marveling at everything around her and becomes fascinated with it. There's a certain tipping point, I think, in the film where she wants to be good at being a person. Which I'm not exactly sure where that happens, but it definitely happens at a certain point. It stops being just random childlike gaping at everything, and it becomes effort. She starts putting out effort to be a person.
Yeah, I think the montage, and they had to obviously have had the same movement coach, because there's kind of a bird-like quality with these really hesitant movements with their faces and just their necks. Like it's like a wild animal coming up to a group of humans and trying to fit in with them, which I find really fascinating. Like I found myself kind of mimicking their movements when I was watching the film this time, because it's so fascinating and it's so beautiful. Like there is that wonder, but also a little bit of skittishness. Like there's just a tiny bit of maybe a little bit of fear in it because she has been burned so much, but she keeps going forward regardless, which I think is so important.
Yeah, now that you say that, that's a great observation, because I noticed that whenever there's a group of humans standing around talking or eating or whatever, she sends, initially at the beginning, especially at the beginning, but this sort of fades over time. She wanders around the outside like a dog that's wandered into the campsite, not like a person that wants to sit down yet and eat with these people and talk with them. She's doing that, what are these people up to? Kind of the way like a dog or a cat pet will just sort of wander into a situation.
Yeah.
I like the existential and sort of spiritual questions this movie raises too, especially when it comes to, the body-mind problem. And one of the things that you see in the consistency, I think all of that is born out of the early isolation, right? And it carries through to each body. So in this film, through metaphor, it is saying, I am my mind, right? And I can transfer body. I am my experiences, my accumulation of experiences, but I'm also like many different facets as they come together. However, my body will certainly dictate how I am able to perform and how I take possession and of my being in it. I mean, there's like really great trans allegory in this. They're getting to the point of gender and the amorphousness of body and how it relates to the mind.
I'm glad you said that. Like, I don't always feel comfortable raising these as a non-queer person, but like I wrote down, there's a line where Maria says where she says after Navina, as Bilya has married or is about to marry her husband, Maria comes to her and says, he will find you out and throw you in the fire himself. And I underlined that and wrote trans metaphor.
It's very clear to me that I don't, it can be read that I am cisgender myself. But that moment, I think is, if you were to, say this is my thesis, that's it. I mean, it calls itself out because of it's happening and it's always happened. And the specific circumstances of what this fable is about mind and body and this mutation or transfiguration.
And that's why I think the viscerality, the corporeality of the transformation, I think is important, because if this was like a glamour, if it's a witch casting an illusion to trick people, that's a different idea, and not as potent in this context as that. This requires an actual, like the viscera, the organs have to be ripped out and forcibly, and the process is painful even for the witch. You can see it in the way that Navina and Maria act, that shoving this stuff into themselves. So the fact that it's very clearly in the context of this world or this magic or whatever, this magic is tangible. She's actually transforming into this person. It's not just a a bit of illusion or something, which I think is
Right.
important to the themes that you're talking about, that
Mhm.
it wouldn't feel, those themes wouldn't feel as strong if it was just, shadow play.
Right.
Well, I was also wanted to ask Jessica about, like, there's a real balancing act here with tone, right? That we have to be able to, as viewers, by the viewpoint that Navina slowly arrives at over the course of the film, we have to sort of go on that journey with her.
Mhm.
And, you could argue, and this maybe goes to Josh's criticism, you could argue that sort of the conclusions that she reaches are that, she's marveling at how horrible the world is, but also marveling about how beautiful it is.
It feels earned to me, just her marveling at watching, the women talk to each other and gossip and laugh, just marveling at the small moments or the big moments, that being able to clothe yourself in the sun like liquid, like all these beautiful, not just sensory experiences, but emotional experiences and connections that you can form. She suffers so much, and she hears about how much Maria suffered when she was human. And yet, there's always something coming around the corner for her. I think that isolation at the beginning plays such a huge role in it, because she sees this tiny, tiny segment of the world, and for 16 years, all she knows is a small blue space up in the sky and cold rock around her. And when she comes out, she's like a baby all over again, and this whole world is opening up to her. She even says, rivers spin out inside me, like all these things keep opening up inside her and blossoming. It works for me completely, because I go on that journey with her, where no matter how hard and how cruel the world can be, it can still be so beautiful, and human connection can be so beautiful. So it absolutely works for me.
Maybe it absolutely works for me now too. I don't know. I'm so easily swayed, especially Katie Carter came on and I was like, Strawberry Mansion, and now I'm like, I want to be a beat on a point.
Well, you brought, I was maybe a little cooler on Stars at Noon than you were, and then you kind of brought, when we talked about it last episode, we're both so excited about it. So your enthusiasm can be infectious, right?
Yeah, like a witch's spirit.
Or witch's spit.
Okay, wait. I know, metaphor, fable, folklore. I don't. What does that mean? Is that she
fluid?
Can
it's
make
fluid.
one witch,
Mhm.
one
other witch throughout her
Mhm.
life?
Mhm.
All right. Well, what's who's she gonna witchify?
baby.
Witchify me.
She witchifies her child.
To save her.
Right. That's the
That's the
fucking
point.
end of the
Mhm.
movie. I forgot about.
And that to me is the power. What you're talking about, Jess, is the power of it, and the way that Maria. And again, we get Maria's backstory in this wonderful flashback,
Mhm.
which is I wrote down that I loved the transition. There's something very Game of Thronesy about like the old woman telling the story, but the cinematic touch that this film adds is it cuts mid-sentence to a first-person account from Maria herself during the flashback. Love that. But the fact that all these horrible things happen to Maria, she basically had a terrible life and nothing ever good happened to her, and so her bitterness isn't unjustified, but the fact that basically the last thing that Maria says to Navina before Navina kills her at the end is almost weeping and marveling at that you gave your one shot to this infant so fast. How? And to us it seems obvious. Any mother's going to defend their child, but to Maria, she's been in the witch life for so long, for lack of a better.
So removed from humanity.
She's been so removed from humanity. She doesn't remember that, and I think what Navina concludes is that she's past saving, that she's never going to be able to understand it. But it almost breaks your heart the way that Maria doesn't say it spitefully. She almost says it admiringly, like, how did you do that? How did you react like instinctively like a mother? I'll never have that.
I love those moments where you can see Maria get close to getting it, like when she first takes Navina out into the woods and they're sitting like under a waterfall or by a stream, and she reaches out and just kind of brushes Navina's hair, and it's almost maternal. There are times when she almost tries and then she swats her away, and she just cannot do it because she's too bitter, too far removed.
Also, like just the idea of worldview, that so much of this movie is about being a parent and what worldview you pass on to your child. That
Yes.
Maria like is so bitter and so filled up with venom that it's almost like she's incapable of providing any kind of positivity to Navina at all. And again, it's in this goofy, sort of weird, non-biological mother-child, supernaturally mediated relationship, but it's still a relationship, and it's obviously has resonance for all kinds of parent-child relationships.
Mhm.
You know, that there's this sense in which Navina didn't get to even have a childhood. So part of what makes the early sequences when when she takes over Bilia, the dead child, is that real sense of what you were talking about, Jess. There's that sense of wonder when she comes out of the cave, where she's 16 and enters the world, basically leaves the womb, womb of the cave, if you will,
Mhm.
and enters the world. And that sense of immediate wonder is never really quite replicated until she takes over young Bilia's body.
Mhm.
And then there's this like sense of almost wistfulness about, oh, this is what I didn't get.
Yeah.
I did like, this is different than being a man. Being a child is different than being a woman or a man, which I've already sampled. This is something
Or
else.
dog.
Yeah, or dog.
Well, on that note, I've got a little game, and
Okay.
it's about actors. Okay.
Okay, I'm shutting
gonna go
IMDb,
back.
so I'm not tempted to cheat.
Yeah. No IMDb, because that's cheating.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna do the IMDb game, aka known for the numeral 4. So with this game, I'm giving you a list. This is called the Best Supporting Witches edition. These are Oscar winners who have played witches.
What witch did Rachel Weisz play? I remember.
Oh, you don't remember the great and powerful Oz, do you?
Oh, I'm trying to forget that. That's why. Oh God,
Watched that recently.
it's bad.
And it's such not a movie. Like, is that Sam Raimi?
Okay.
That.
Betty Davis,
Anyway.
Angelica Houston, Rachel Weisz. Okay.
Right. All right. So we're gonna quiz each other. We're all gonna pick one, and that's gonna be the one that the others will quiz on. And what you're trying to do is guess what appears on their IMDb pages as their most known films. Now, this is an IMDb generated, they have some secret fucking algorithm. So what ends up happening is something weird. Inevitably, it's going to be like one you've never heard of, like Oscar wins, maybe a franchise movie, and then like something from last year. Anyway, so try to think as IMDb when you're attempting to guess. Now, you
Well,
get
Jess gets first pick of these.
You'll
since he's
get first
guessed.
pick, but you get
Oh,
2 wrong guesses, and then we'll give you the years of the remaining films,
okay.
and then we'll just give you a bunch of hints.
Okay.
So,
That's usually the way
I'm-
it goes.
Jess, I'm going to let you pick who you would like out of Betty Davis, Angelica Houston, or Rachel Weisz.
Betty Davis, please.
Okay. Then I am going to do Angelica Houston, and I'm going to go first so that you can see what kind of mess I make of this.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I guess
So
technically
you-
I do have to have IMDb open for.
Yeah, now you got to go back and give me Angelica.
We go in a circle here and
Houston.
we like give each other the clues.
Okay.
You'll get the idea here.
Gotcha.
So I'm doing Angelica Houston for Josh.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to start guessing while you pull that up. And I'm going to guess that The Witches is on there.
Okay, you're right. One is The Witches.
Okay. I got one of the 4.
These are
The
probably easy.
Grifters.
Yes.
I'll go with the Oscar win. What is that movie called? Prizzi's Honor.
No.
What? If they're both on there, I'm going to be upset. The Addams Family.
Yes. One more.
I'm going through Have I guessed 2 wrong yet?
No, one, you got one wrong.
1 wrong? Okay. Then I'm just gonna guess Adam's Family Values.
No.
Shit.
The film
Okay,
you're
give
looking
me the
for
year.
is 1998.
1998, and it's we should call out if it's TV series or
Right. This
TV
is a film.
or
It's a film,
animated.
1998. Not animated,
19
live action film, 1998.
And she is running around being Angelica Houston in 1998, and she was definitely in a movie.
Yes, she was.
I'm
She was
gonna
wearing
be
clothes. He had a
Oh,
Saying
hairstyle.
darn.
lines.
clothes and lines. Can I get another hint?
She
will
is
never get-
not the above the line lead.
No, I didn't figure. Not to 1998, honey. You got to give me another hint.
Okay. Leonardo da Vinci is a character in this movie. Jess knows it now, I think.
Leonardo da Vinci is a character,
Yes.
and am I gonna be mad that I didn't figure
Yeah,
this out?
probably.
Leonardo da Vinci is a character? Is it because of some sort of time slippage machine?
Nope.
I don't know. Like, why is he a character in a movie? More, please.
This story has been adapted many, many times in many, many media.
And Da Vinci's in it. Now I'm just showing how stupid I am.
Do you want the gimme?
Give me the gimme.
The lead actress is Drew Barrymore.
Why is that ever after?
It's ever after.
What the literal fuck? Why is Leonardo da Vinci a character in that? Am I stupid?
Good fucking question. that is the fundamental question.
Wait, so who
I actually like Ever After. Confess, I saw it in the theater back in the day. But it is the why the fuck is Leonardo da Vinci in this? The main question that should be raised here. Also, why
plays
are
him?
all the French people speaking in English accents?
Oh, that's just old school. But who plays Leonardo da Vinci?
I don't
Anyone
even remember.
of note?
Patrick Godfrey, who's mainly a theater actor, I think.
All right. I'm so mad.
I
Does she
think
play
isn't
like
Ever After kind of a minor queer canon film too? Because Melanie Linsky's in it. And...
stamped
Campy.
denied? I don't
Okay.
know that. No.
Okay.
My people have never
Angelica
said that to
Houston's
me.
like, Angelica Houston honestly is the best part of it. She's doing a great evil stepmother.
I've never seen it. So
Oh.
all right, it's on my list now.
Okay.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I'll embarrass
Okay.
myself.
All right.
We all embarrass
Yeah.
ourselves. That's the point. This is whose line is it anyway? Rules. The rules are made up and no points don't matter.
All right. So Betty Davis, bonus. What did she play a witch in?
Oh, was it not something Wicked This Way Comes? It was The Watcher in the Woods, was it? It was something.
Watcher in the Woods. Like, I've seen that movie and I don't remember. There is like some kind of witchcraft going on. There's also Return to Witch Mountain, but she's not a witch in it. But I don't want anyone to forget her final film appearance in Larry Cohen's Wicked Stepmother, where she is a bag of bones, can barely speak. It like dropped out halfway through the movie, and then in the diegesis of the film is replaced by a younger person playing it because she dropped out through like some kind of witchcraft, and it makes no sense. I watched it recently because I went through a Larry Cohen thing. Anyway,
I have never
Wicked
seen this. I
Stepmother.
love Larry Cohen
No.
too. I've never seen this.
Right?
Put it on the list, if only for the little trivia asterisk that it is.
That's like Bela Lugosi in Plan 9. He just kind of like
exactly.
rolls in and then strolls out.
All right. Known for Betty Davis.
Okay. All About Eve.
Yep.
Okay. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
You got it.
Now Voyager.
Yeah.
I want to say The Little Foxes just because I love that movie, but I doubt it's on there.
It's not on there, but agreed, it should be. I love that movie too.
It's not Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, is it?
Oh, I also love that movie so much. I like that movie more than Baby Jane. I don't know if that's a controversial opinion.
Dark Victory?
Yes.
Yay!
You, how dare you come to my program?
This is the other reason I wanted Jessica on the show, because I knew she would clean up if we did older films.
Cleaned up. So
Because she's
good.
forgotten more older films than I've ever seen.
Oh, no.
I've
But yeah,
never
I
seen
went-
Dark Victory.
Yeah. I went
Oh,
straight
you
for
haven't?
Betty Davis. Oh, yeah.
No, I've never seen it. This is the one, yeah, where she's dying and there's a romance. And have you seen it, Jess?
Mhm.
Is this one for the watch list? All right, of
Yeah,
course.
I think anything with Betty Davis is one for the watch list. Like,
I think
even
you're
if
right.
even if it's her version of Trog, like I'm gonna watch it. So,
Her version of Trog is definitely Wicked Stepmother.
But now I'm looking up her filmography. She was in Burnt Offerings. I forgot about that too.
Her Offerings is just what I was thinking about with Karen Black and Oliver Reed. That's a good movie. Dang, Betty Davis, you were good. First time anyone said that.
Yeah, what a novel. This is why
Right?
people come to the take up for the totally
Yeah,
novel takes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's our hot take up opinion. All right.
Okay.
Great job, Jazz. I'm plotting
Thank you. Yay.
so good.
I think you're gonna win.
All right. Andrew.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do
Rachel.
with-
Rachel's the one I can do. I know. I
Rachel.
can
Uh-huh.
do
Ooh,
Let's go, Rachel Weisz.
it. The Mummy.
yes.
Now for IMDb, I always try to think like a dumb movie fanboy. So there's maybe the Marvel. What the Marvel she was in? Black Widow.
Nope.
Not Black Widow isn't on there. It's gonna be something else weird. Is it? Oh, now I'm thinking like Josh. Is the Mummy Returns one of the other ones?
No.
Oh,
Nope.
okay. Oh, so that's
All
two
right.
down.
So you're going to get years
Okay.
2005, 2006, and 2015.
2015. Jesus. Okay. What were the first ones again? In chronological order.
2005, 2006, 2015.
Constantine?
Nope.
Damn.
And yet, so close.
Okay.
So close in one very specific way.
Okay.
And that's going to throw you off.
Mhm.
I'm floundering here. Enemy at the Gates?
No.
Mm.
Jess, let's give him some clues.
Oh, I'm looking for a good clue for the 2005 one.
This is her Oscar win.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, Ray Fiennes, right? The Constant Gardener?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see why I said Constantine? I thought you were about to
That was
say
a dumb
it.
joke. That was
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All right,
Constantine.
2000
Constantine and John Le Carre, not anything remotely like. Okay.
2006 and 2015. These are auteur projects, right?
Okay.
You could say that.
Mhm.
One had a new film last year. This is the
Oh.
2006.
Brothers Bloom.
Nope.
No? Damn.
Nope. Nope.
That was a good guess, though, admit it.
That was a deep cut. Yeah. All
I'm
right.
floundering here.
She plays multiple characters in the 2006 one.
What? Multiple characters.
What else can we tell them about this one?
We might have to drill down to other actors or something because I'm not.
Other actors. Because I can't remember off the top of my head. Hugh Jackman. The
I'm not-
director loves a biblical allegory. Loves.
Oh,
maybe-
The Fountain.
Yes.
God, I love her in that too. Why did I take me so long to remember that?
All right. So you got The Fountain. That's Darren Aronofsky's The Fountain. You had The Whale last year. In the 2015 film, I really want to give you the name of the character. Are you looking at that? Isn't that?
Yeah.
I'm like, is that really her name in that?
Right.
That's funny. That is funny. This
Okay.
this is a This is like dystopian romance comedy.
Dystopian romance. What are you talking about?
Right. You could say this about pretty much all of this dude's movies. What are you talking about? Starring an Best Actor nominee from this year.
Well, okay.
The title is an animal.
Oh, The Lobster.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah. Why I am like gotta turn in my Rachel Weisz fan card now. Jesus Christ. That was terrible performance. I've loved her. I've loved her. Like she was one of my first like movie star crushes too. So like there's no excuse for me here.
I'm like, I guess these do, as I look through her filmography, these do make sense.
I'm
as
actually
choices,
surprised that The
but-
Fountain and The Lobster are like the IMDb top films. I thought for sure it was going to be Constantine and Black Widow.
The nerds fucking love Aronofsky. So
I guess so.
there's that. Also, I would think the favorite, well, I guess the nerds would love The Lobster over The Favorite. Yeah, that would make more sense too.
Mhm.
All right. Now that I've called everyone a nerd, 'cause I'm definitely not that.
No, Mister. Let me give you my top 20 Betty Davis performances.
Leave me alone. Leave me out of this. So we round everything out by doing one more thing. That's something we've been enjoying, making a recommendation to everyone. Jessica, as our guest, please kick us off here. What's one more thing from you?
One more thing, if you are a fan of You Won't Be Alone, there is a graphic novel that I highly recommend called One Soul by Ray Fox. It's really similar in tone and subject. It's really gorgeous. It's kind of experimental in its format. It's got 18 panels. Each panel is a different life, and it's the same 18 panels on each page. And you just follow these people throughout their lives, and it's this really lovely meditation on humanity and existence and connection. And if you love this movie, I think you'll love this book.
Is this like 7-Up in comic form? Basically, we're watching all these different people go through their lives simultaneously.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds awesome.
I just
So
got
good.
chills and immediately put this thing in a cart.
Oh, yay.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I like the art style. Looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you like it. I hope you don't hate it, and then you're like, oh my God, Jessica.
I don't read a ton of graphic novels, so I tend to be very choosy, but this looks like right up my alley.
Yes.
All right. And then as our guest, if you can let everyone know where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter at We Who Walk Here. Also, my website, wewhowalkhere.com, has all of my reviews, my essays, everything that I write for Slash Film, Dread Central, Film Cred, everybody. It's all collected in one place. And you can also just come say hi to me, come talk to me about this movie on Twitter at We Who Walk Here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. One more thing from Andrew. Hi, Andrew. What's your
Hey.
one more thing?
So I've been binge watching my way through the final season of Servant on Apple TV Plus, which I don't think I've talked about it on this show. I've written about it for the site a few years ago, but I don't think I've even mentioned it on this show. So this is Tony Balskops, I think that's how you pronounce his name, has a series that he created. M. Night Shyamalan kind of put his damn branding on it. He does produce it and directed a couple episodes, and actually two very good episodes, but it's not really he's not the showrunner or anything. But this is if you haven't seen it yet, its fourth season is finishing up right now. I think they've got a couple more weeks to go on that. This is an amazing, tonally and formally amazing horror series that I don't think enough people are talking about. A psychological thriller / horror film, horror series. All about a couple, the wealthy Philadelphia couple, and their loss. They've had an infant die. Their infant firstborn son dies, and so they have this like reborn doll. It's like a surrogate doll for the mother to sort of process her grief, and they hire a nanny to help take care of the reborn doll. And the way I'm describing it makes it sound like that movie The Boy, but it's almost the inversion of that. The parents are the sympathetic characters, and this nanny kind of comes into the house, is sort of weird and creepy, and she starts doing some things that don't make a heck of a lot of sense. That is like the Nickel version of the first episode. And so what I love about this is a beautiful series, beautifully shot, the entire series takes place in one house. They almost never leave this house. So the geography of the house becomes very important. If you're like Hannibal, there's a lot of amazing, the husband is like a sort of bad boy chef character. So the whole show has lots of like cutting edge culinary shit in it, all beautifully photographed. If you like that kind of Hannibal vibe. But one reason I always recommend it to horror fans in particular is that it's insanely unpredictable. So if you're a horror veteran, as I know Jessica is, and I know I am, like one of the things that happens after a while is you start to like you can't be surprised anymore. You can't be like, you kind of know where things are going. And it's no patch on the genre. It's just sort of what happens when you immerse yourself in a genre after a long time. Mm-hmm. I had no freaking clue where this series was going after an entire first season. Every episode adds additional wrinkles to it. And yet it's a very focused show. It's not like Lost where they're just spinning out nonsense for no particular reason. If there are mysteries, and the mysteries very slowly unravel, but it's a very rare case of where I have no freaking clue where this is going. And every season has been kookier and more ridiculous than the last, and more intense than the last. So if you haven't yet, it's one of those things where, like, if you don't have Apple TV Plus as a streaming service, it's almost worth the rental. Between that and Severance, I think like you will get your month's value out of subscribing to it for a month.
I like that you said all of that and avoided the dirty words that I definitely want to bring up,
which is
Knock at the Cabin.
Oh, well. Are we going to talk about Knock at the Cabin?
I know. Jess, have you seen Knock at the Cabin?
I have not.
Okay, we're not going to talk about it because I don't want to talk about it because I don't like getting angry.
Neither do I. Josh and I are on the same page on this one.
We are very much on the same
page. If anything,
page.
Josh is angrier than I am.
I was so mad. I'm shaking. But the one thing I will say, Andrew, is that I think I saw it like a couple days before you, or I don't know, but I was like, I can't wait. If Andrew likes this movie, we're going to
spar about it
so hard about it. And then what a relief that not only did you hate it too, but we hated it for the same reasons.
I am reading the novel now, and the novel is infinitely better.
Okay, yeah, I am very curious and definitely wanting to pick that up because I have a book thing for mine. But Andrew, first, where can people find you?
Oh, yeah, socials. I'm on Twitter at Arachnophiliac, and I'm on Letterboxd at AYat76. And you can find all my reviews now at thetakeup.com.
So, okay, we've got One Soul. We've got Cabin at the End of the World.
No.
What is it called? Cabin at the End of the World.
That was the novel, yes. Cabin at the End of the World. An infinitely better title, too, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Knock at the cabin door. Like, no one wants to say knock at the cabin. You want to say knock at the cabin. Anyway. Anyway, I read a book that I'm going to recommend. And I will say, I told you, Andrew, I did pretty much immediately finish Stars at Noon after we were finished. Recorded the episode. It is a good book. It is its own thing. I am okay. Everything is fine. But so yes, recommend reading Stars at Noon at some point. My quote unquote lower brow recommendation, a friend and future guest, Anna Queering, who is a writer herself, and she recommended to me a romance novel. And I was like, absolutely not, because I'm an asshole. And she said, do you think, this is how she posed it to me, do you think that shame is sexy? I was like, what? Oh, what? Why would you pose that question to me? And I guess, absolutely, yes. The novel is called Heated Rivalry. It is about two NHL rookies who find themselves in a secret romance. They're just fucking the entire time. But the structure of it is interesting because it takes place over years and years, and their relationship develops. And let me tell you that while I was very interested in the romance, quote unquote romance portion of this, is just very explicit, characters develop and an actual like love story develops, and it's very interestingly structured with the kind of gaps in time that it has.
Is it like Harry Met Sally / Before trilogy, where like there are big leaps and then they sort of meet up again?
There are definitely big leaps in time, and their meeting. Yeah, I like that you call it meeting up. It's all like structured around their hookups, and given an explicit detail, but things start to develop into something else. So my recommendation is, yeah, Shame is kind of hot. But that's Heated Rivalry. And it's available right now as an ebook and an audiobook. And if you listen to the audiobook, the narrator is named Tom Tor, something like that, and he does a terrible Russian accent. It's really excellent stuff.
Oh, is it an international romance as well?
Well, one of the hockey players is Russian.
I love it.
The other one's Canadian. So
Love it.
Yeah, it's very international. And it's available for pre-order of physical mass market copies coming out soon because it has such a huge following. And then of course you're going to start Googling like fan art and stuff like that. I definitely did not. I did not do that. I did not do that. I'm Joshua Ray. You can find my reviews on KMOV, on thetakeup.com, also on social media at Crispy Retinas. And make sure to follow The Take Up at The Take Up STL. All right, that is it for our episode. I want to thank once again Jessica Scott. Thank you so much for coming on. I said it as a joke, but you probably did give me a little bit of a bump on this one.
Yay.
So we are going to go into a new mini series on our next episode. We're celebrating Kristen Stewart. We're going to cover the career of Kay Stu, which I think gives us a lot to talk about. Not only Kay Stu, but quite a few directors that she's worked with. I think it gives us some wild swings to talk about. So look forward to that. You can follow us at The Take Up STL for upcoming guests, upcoming episodes. And want to thank Jessica Pierce, our editor, and Kayla McCullough for our social media. And until then, I don't know, just Google Kay Stu, do your homework.
There you go. There's your
Here's witches.